All right. Let's see what's going on here. It says it's live. Let me see if we are. Yeah, I see us. We look good.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound so surprised. Here, I'll tweet here. So, red carpet show on right now, and I'm going to tweet this link at us. But people will notice, for example, the video quality is better, and they'll see you're somewhere different. So,
what are you saying?
No, I'm saying there's no. This is like straight goods here.
Are we on TV?
We're on TV, man. If they Chromecast it to their big screen, we're on TV. People do that, you know. They press a button. The YouTube is now on the big screen. We're like in 60 inches.
I use an HDMI cord for that.
Yeah, some people still do that, but a lot of people they can Chromecast or use Apple TV or whatever. Here, okay. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, so I'm going to compose the tweet of the century.
Yeah,
I love chewing gum, but
I have not chewed. Couldn't tell you the last time I chewed gum. I think I was told by my dentist. I don't know how many years ago. So you don't want to be chewing gum.
Well, what about sugar-free? Is that okay? What about,
no, it's got nothing to do with that. It's the consistency of it and what it's going to do to your bridge work or whatever.
Oh,
I remember when I was a kid. Remember those Roman nougats? Really hard, chewy, white with little speckles of fruit in it, right?
Yeah.
And really hard, I remember, biting into one of those things and just my whole my molar coming out or something like that.
That's no good.
You can't be eating stuff like that. Candy that jujubes and stuff like that get stuck in your teeth. So, where were we on that?
Well, basically, I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. But also, I can't chew gum and drink coffee at the same time.
Who does?
They're mutually, no one does, but they're mutually exclusive events. So.
I'll tell you what I always wondered: people who smoke and ate at the same time.
Oh yeah.
They take a drag of the cigarette and before they exhale, they'd be having a forkful of food. I could never get that one.
Man, oh man!
All right. You're composing the tweet of the century.
Yeah, you're going to.
So it's Friday the 13th, by the way.
Do you believe in any superstitions like that? Does that change anything?
I'm incredibly superstitious.
No, are you?
Not at all.
Are you wearing your lucky underwear?
Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit. Am I superstitious? In fact, I tried to go the other way against superstitions. If they allowed me, I would have worn jersey number 13 back when I played. Because I just think it's the silliest thing. Black cat walking under a ladder.
Oh, I know.
And then your thinking goes for the rest of your life. It's like, oh, well, I don't know. Can't do that. Last time I walked under a ladder, I got sick 3 days later. Oh, okay. There you go. And also a lot of times it's a sort of a substitute for critical thinking. It's mysticism or superstition. I can't do that. Well, why not? Well, it's, I'm superstitious.
Right.
What are you, nuts?
Right.
This is 2023, for gosh sakes. You're still talking that way?
You forgot for a moment. 2023. Absolutely.
That's right.
All right.
Make sure I put that in my checks. Okay. Did you send a nice little...
Do you still write checks?
Okay. The last time I wrote a check was when I had to leave a deposit first and last month's rent on my apartment. And that's 5 years ago.
All right.
It's okay. Whoa, look at that live with HEBSY Man. We should take a picture actually. Here we are in the studio together.
Yeah, this is a rare happening here. Now I'm trying. Let me see here.
Actually, let me take the picture now.
Now, because I'm just looking at the. Yeah. Okay. So. Hope nobody thinks that was a gang symbol. That was okay. All right, you do your thing. Let's see here. I'm making sure things are sorted here.
Making sure things are all sorted out here. And I'm going to send this picture. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Studio is ST. Okay.
Stu is for studio. Cam is for Cameron. Camera. And Mike is for microphone. The great Jarvis.
That was Jarvis.
What time is the Bills game?
1:30. 1 o'clock on Sunday.
1 o'clock on. Okay, good. Good.
Why, Jarvis wants to know?
No, I want to know.
That'd be great.
I don't think I don't know.
Yeah.
He fakes being into things.
Wait till the day comes where he's like, come on, Dad, let's watch the Bills.
It's coming.
Okay. All right.
Now it's high stakes. Now it matters.
All right. Okay, so it's the Red Carpet Show. It's Friday the 13th. Today on the agenda, I noticed today, I think it starts tonight, these Netflix shows, because Drive to Survive was so popular. Incredibly popular. People who didn't know anything about car racing were caught up not so much in the vehicles, but all the personalities, right? The crew chief and the drivers, and these guys are all incredible prima donnas, right?
Right.
I like to go extremely fast. Don't stop me from going fast.
Right.
But you crashed 7 times. Yes, but I'm trying to go fast. All right. And then you've got like one of the owners comes by, like, oh, what's his name? The Stoll from Canada, who's worth, I don't know how many millions. And his son is the driver.
Right.
Okay? Now listen, son, this car is worth $27 million. Don't crack it up. First turn. What happened? Dad, I'm sorry, but I made a mistake. That's a $27 million mistake you've made here. We're last in the point standing. Nobody wants to drive and nobody wants to be part of us. Anyway, so it's like millionaires and billionaires.
Right.
It's pretty good. So now what they're doing is Netflix has signed a deal for a tennis one, which starts tonight, I think.
Okay.
It's called Breakpoint.
Okay.
And then a golf one, which I think starts next month or in a few weeks, called Full Swing. So these are behind the scenes, right? This is all access. This is what people love to see. Ever since the first time you saw that the NHL one, remember?
Yeah,
behind the scenes with Bruce Booth. Oh, you fucking fuck. Wow, that's great. Behind the scenes in the dressing room with John Tortorella. You fucking fuckers, you fucking fuck. All that stuff.
Oh no, they were great. They were fantastic.
Those are great. So now, they take it to other sports, and look, the money's good. I'm sure, right? Here, we want to follow you guys around everywhere, in your hotel rooms, on the court, on the course, arguing, whatever. We're there. We're going to be in your face. And now we're used to it. We're so used to it now.
I saw a tweet from your fan, Brian Gerstein, who might be watching us on the red carpet now, that he said this was not for him. So I take it it's not for you. Like, it's for like people like me, like casual fans, like the true fans might not learn anything from this, or you got to watch to find out, right? Like,
I disagree.
Okay.
Ryan, for the first time ever. No, I love all these sports and I want to know more. I think I'm the type of person that would be more likely to watch it because I want the inside stuff. The casual fan may not even just, maybe with auto racing, it's possible. And
right.
And also remember that took place during the pandemic where people go, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Well, guess what? Netflix has a series called Drive to Survive. Oh, wonderful. Perfect timing. So I don't know, but I as a fan, like I like auto, I like F1, I like auto racing, motorsport racing, as they call it. I learned a lot, but I think anyone would just get the little inner workings. I think fans of the sport would appreciate the inner workings more than non-fans. Like I'm really looking forward to the tennis and golf ones. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. I see them on the court or on the course,
right?
Or their press conference, which is, it's pretty measured and staged. Like nobody's asking super personal questions too often in the, certainly not in golf. In tennis, maybe a little more, But so I'm looking forward.
What was it? Jeannie Bouchard got that big question whether she liked Justin Bieber or not.
I don't even think she. I think the question was, who do you love or who would you like to? And she was like, Justin Bieber.
Okay,
but she was, 20 years old at the time.
I know.
But now the inside stuff. So I want to see, what is it like when they travel and who do they travel with and what do they do in their off time and it must be awfully difficult to get yourself up for certain matches. So we'll talk about all that kind of stuff too. And I want to talk some Jays, but I know that we're going to be talking with Rich Griffin later. So I'm sort of, I want to make sure I serve the HEBSY on Sports audience, right?
Course, yeah.
But at the same time, you can tease and say, well, if you want more on the Jays, BlueJays Extra, I'll be on the Toronto Mike podcast later today with Richard Griffin.
Wow.
Blue Jays and Expos.
When was the last time you saw Griff?
Last time I saw him in person?
In person, yeah.
I didn't see. I was supposed to see him at spring training last year, but I couldn't get in.
I remember those photos.
To get in.
I got to ask him about that.
Yeah, ask him about that. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know when I last saw him in person. We were supposed to play golf a couple of times last year, but he had knee surgery and he had or hip surgery or whatever it was. I'm trying to think what it was.
Help him down these stairs.
I
don't want any accidents.
No, it was over a year ago. And he's good to play golf now. But
I don't even know. Did he decide to retire, or was he told like you're retiring?
Well, let's find out. But I think I think the Blue Jays said we're not renewing your contract. Right?
Okay.
And I guess they gave him enough notice. I don't know when it was, in December last month or something like that. Still a surprise.
It was a surprise to me.
Right? And so we'll find out.
We're going to get straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. And we're ready to rock. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. Do you remember how this works? Retro styles? Okay.
I recall.
Do I remember how it goes? Yes, of course I do. Here we go.
very awkward for me, Mike. I'm sitting two inches from Toronto Mike in the same studio. Hey, sports fans, welcome to HEBSY on Sports. It's episode 316. We're going to put an asterisk beside this episode because we're in the studio together doing this show for the first time since the pandemic. Right, Mike? We've been in the studio together doing other things.
Oh,
not
is
this
that true?
show.
Okay.
We didn't do this show during the pandemic, I don't think.
Maybe once, maybe twice, but I can't remember what
when
we
did
were
the
doing
pandemic
here.
officially begin?
March 2020. March 13th.
You're going to have to go back in your archives. I don't know if I was prepared to come. What?
The pandemic, the first big day where the school shut down and everything was Friday the 13th. And what is today?
Triskaidekaphobia. Friday the 13th of January. So after the show, we'll all be riding our motorcycles out to Port Dover.
Right.
Right. You ever been to those?
No.
You ever been down to Port
Have you?
Dover? Yeah. I've been down there. When I first started at CHCH, I went out 1 year. But it was in like June. I think it was May or June. So the weather
do
was
I look
perfect.
like I don't even know if they'd accept me?
I think if you wore the Doug Flutie Buffalo Bills jersey, for sure they would. Welcome to HEBSY on Sports. Today on the show, the Maple Leafs minus Auston Matthews, who has an undisclosed injury. It's not a UBI. It's not an LBI, right? Upper or lower body injury. Yeah. It's an undisclosed injury, which could be anything from a hangnail to a broken leg to he's sick. He's got a cold. He's got the flu. Not the flu, but, he's not feeling well. He's under the weather. It's possible, We'll find out, or we won't, a little bit later on as the Maple Leafs lost last night in Motown without Auston for the second game in a row. The Toronto Raptors held off the Charlotte Hornets at the bank last night, and they're still in the mix. They're still sort of like, which way do we go? There's lots of games left. There's like a half a season left. Which way do we go? Do we tank? You can't tell professional players to not win. It goes against their nature. So we'll see what's going on with the Raptors. The Buffalo Bills are an overwhelming, 23.5 point favorite. They could beat Miami 70-0. Sunday in the one of the AFC wildcard games, 13.5 point favorite. So we're going to talk NFL playoffs. Playoffs? Are the Toronto BlueJays finished tinkering with their roster, or is there another notch left in their belt after acquiring Brandon Belt? Right. Left-handed power hitter. He'll back up Vladdy at first base. He'll get some DH action and another left-handed bat. So look at left-handed bats all of a sudden, right? Varsho, Kiermaier, right? Now we've got Brandon Belt. I think Kevin Biggio will still be with the team this year. So you got some left-handed pop now. It's good. What Netflix series about sports are you most looking forward to? Breakpoint, about tennis? Full Swing? Drive to Survive? So much great sports programming out there. I can hardly wait to watch it all. We'll get to all of it, but first let's say hi to Toronto Mike, where he's right. I'm sitting right next to him here. You're right.
If I piss you off today, you could slug me. When I piss you off today, you can slug me. Happy. I know you don't celebrate, but happy Friday the 13th.
Oh, I do. I
do.
celebrate. Oh yeah, big party. Big party tonight. Friday. No. Who celebrates Friday the 13th?
The
and
bikers.
What's the deal behind Friday the 13th? Can we get a little background to this?
Yeah, where?
Why Friday? I get the 13th. The 13th was an lucky. I didn't realize till I moved into my first apartment that there was no 13th floor.
Oh, some places are like that.
Some places are like that. I was
like,
wait a second. Where's the 13th
Because they can't.
floor?
No one wants.
So when you're on the 14th floor, you're really on the 13th floor.
Right. And that's confusing for people who like to walk between the stairs. And it's like I'm walking to the 14th floor, and it's you miscount or whatever. Yeah. But
so we got some snow here in the Greater Toronto area here. Which always oh my God, we got snow. It's fucking January. Well, of course you got snow. Take it easy. But the drive-in today, I borrowed my girlfriend's car, and the drive-in today was fine. People do know how to drive in the winter, thank goodness. Although, local news stations is like, some more weather tips. For gosh sakes, we've been living in Canada for how many years? Do I really need tips on how to shovel? Right? What to do to make sure I have, emergency stuff in my car?
But what are they supposed
to do?
Flares,
Now let's go to the safe driving school and learn how to drive out of a skid. Come on. Now I get this if you're in Houston, Texas, and you're seeing snow for the first time in 5 years or ice storms. I get that. But come on, it's Canada. We know how to drive.
You'd think so, but there's new Canadians, right? There's people, this might be their first snowfall.
Wait a second. I have to watch City TV to find out how to drive in the snow. Just a second, Marge. I've got to watch this.
I biked in the snow this morning.
I know you
Not
do.
very much snow. Not very much snow today. But it is interesting that your first visit, and somebody pointed out, I want to give credit, but Mr. Mr. Allen, maybe. I see the reason I'm frenetically moving here is because I was making the video public. Apparently, the way I went live, it was hard to find unless you follow us on Twitter. So
what are you talking about?
Yeah, it wasn't public. It was like unlisted, so it was hard to find. But now that I've made a change, it should be fine. But all this is to say, there was a gentleman who pointed out we did a live thing in the backyard. So we have done a backyard recording recently.
I know, but I'm talking about in the studio. I know we were in the backyard. I was there. Did a couple of the backyard. Did one with Milan.
Oh yeah.
Did one with your buddy, the marijuana guy.
Oh yeah, Andy Palalis.
Andy, yeah.
Right, I talked to him yesterday.
Did another one, I think. I think I did 3 in the backyard.
The marijuana guy. Could you be more specific, Hebsy? Hello, my marijuana friends. Okay, so now we're set up. Now it's public. So a quick hello to Michael Lewis, Wayne Brown. Everybody's finding us now. Martin Lai, Dale Cadeau chiming in from BC, yes. And the gentleman who pointed that, Jim Allen. So Jim Allen is the guy who said we were in the backyard. So hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Again, if Hebsy pisses me off, I can also slug him. That's how close I am to Hebsy.
You can. You go ahead. Go ahead. That would be good, wouldn't that?
Yeah.
Caught on tape.
I think you can
and then all over social media.
Oh, yeah.
A brawl.
Right.
Podcast brawl.
That's what they do in wrestling.
Across the table.
You want to do this? A work or a shoot? That's all I need to know.
All right. Let's get to some sports. Auston Matthews missed his 2nd straight game with an undisclosed injury. And if you want to see what kind of team the Leafs are without him, well, all you had to do was watch last night's game in Detroit, where the Maple Leafs, I'm not going to say they outplayed the Red Wings. The Red Wings played okay, but I mean, they had lots of shots, 33 shots on goal. Unfortunately, Ville Husso kicked out 32 of those shots, and the Red Wings beat the Leafs 4-1 in Motown. Had Matthews been on the ice instead of, say, Wayne Simmons, the Leafs might have potted a couple more. But I didn't even know Wayne Simmons was still on the team, right? To be honest with you. Right. We're watching going, wait a second, who's that 24? That's Wayne Simmons! I don't know when the last time he played. I mean, he's been in the press box the whole time. But suffice it to say that Wayne Simmons is not the answer for Auston Matthews. Matthews only with 20 goals this year. Just people like, oh my God, he had 60 last year. 60, and he's only got 20. Yeah, but there's 39 games to go. We know this guy's capable of scoring 4 goals in a game. Right. So, and how many times have you said, well, he's not having a very good season. He's projected. Is that the word they use? Right. No, on pace. I fucking hate that.
If you
he's on pace to score. Come on, stop it. Right now, he's on pace to score 40, which is a huge disappointment after scoring 60. But he's on pace doesn't mean shit. I guarantee you, if he scores 4 goals in his next game, or 4 goals in the next 2 games, and he's got 24 now, it's like, oh, well, now he's on pace to score. Like, come on.
Look, 40, that's David Clarkson numbers. We expect more from Auston.
Come on. The team's playing very well, okay? I mean, imagine. I don't know. If Auston Matthews had 40 goals at this point and the Leafs weren't playing that well, would you be okay? Well, he's got 40.
Right.
And we know who the Leafs are going to play in the playoffs anyway. They're playing Tampa. We've known this since November. Boston wins the division.
Right.
2 plays 3.
Right.
So we know that the Leafs are playing Tampa. So these games are, I don't know.
Have we punched our ticket yet? Brian points out he's hearing
it quite a bit now. We have not scanned our pass yet. No, punched our ticket. What is this, train travel? Anyway, an undisclosed injury. We don't know. They're not saying what's the matter with Auston Matthews. Upper body, lower body? No, it's undisclosed. Okay? And then, of course, now you've got the people. Well, I think he might be sick. Oh, really? Well, that's different. How do you put that? Is that upper body, lower body? Is it respiratory? What is it? Come on. The guy, if any team could afford to have their best player missing for a period of time, it's the Leafs right now. The Leafs could lose 5 in a row and still be fine. No problem at all. Nobody chasing him. So this is the time where you rest your best player. It could be a recurring wrist injury. It could be, some people are saying he's been hurt all season. I hate when I hear, he's been hurt all season. Every player's like that. Every single player has some nagging injury for the season. So, it's been bothering him all year. Yeah, I get it. He should have wrist surgery. Shouldn't have wrist surgeries. Whatever. It could be that shot that he took from Ben back in the Dallas game. You got all the Zapruder film guys, all the nerds and nitwits going, wait a second. His second shift of the game against Carolina. That could be it right there. Let's slow it down. Back it up. Take a look. There you go. Look at the wincing.
Right.
Yeah, like every time a player winces, that must have been where the injury took place. Come on, it's hockey. Violent sport.
Now that we've punched our ticket, Hebsy, let's shut this guy down, man. There's no rush at all.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Take as much time as you need.
Right.
Give some other guys some opportunities. Like that kid last night. What was his name last night? McMahon? Was that it? Scored his first NHL goal. Nope, not a goal. You can't kick it, even though you're not kicking it towards the net. You can't kick it anyway, near the crease, kick it, and if it goes in off somebody, it doesn't count. Like, that's dumb. Like, if he was kicking it towards the net, right? Towards the net, trying to score, and it went off a defender, that's different. The kicking motion was intended to score. But that he was trying to kick it from his skate up to his stick, and it went off the defender. It's stupid. The poor guy. There's his first NHL goal. Not so fast. Oh, my God. And that just goes to show you about the way sports is now, that you can't even celebrate. You can't even for a second go, yeah, because you've got to wait for the official word. And when you've got thousands of people that say, he scored, yeah, you got to wait a second. It's offside.
What percentage of goals I know you don't have the answer, but what percentage of goals do you think are called back? It's still very, very, very low. I think you can probably, in most cases, you can celebrate and then.
I don't know. I think if you were to take the number of all the goals that were scored and how many of them were reviewed, like they're all a goal is always reviewed.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But how many times has a team scored a goal and the goal has been reviewed and it's taken time before the decision? Either way.
10%.
It's a good goal or it's no goal. How much time have we had to wait for there's the Zebras over there? Wait a second now. He's taking off the headset. He's coming to center ice. He's turning his microphone on. Let's see what it's going to be.
Oh, we have a guest we're live on your YouTube channel after I figured out how to make it public. And it's been a while, Hebsy. But 3.8%, that's a very precise guess, not a guess, but from a guest, Brian Gerstein. So 3.8% of goals are reviewed or called back, I should say.
Are called back.
Called back, yeah.
But Brian, what's the percentage of goals that have been reviewed and the goal has stood? Or it was called no goal and it was changed to a goal.
Right.
Get back to me.
Get back to us.
Okay, so Matthews, the Leafs can afford to lose some games.
Yeah.
Get Matthews healthy. Have him at his absolute best when you hit the playoffs and you take on Tampa Bay because you're going to need him. Barely past the halfway point for crying out loud of this game. It's like ridiculous.
And let's remember, we'll win more games than we lose even without Auston Matthews.
Very true. Very true. So Boston is not going to go in anytime soon. They've lost 5 games all year. The 5th was their first home loss this season. And it fell to the amazing Seattle Kraken. Listen to this team, Seattle. It's like, their second year in the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've won 7 games in a row, 6 of them on the road. They started their road. They won a game at home to the Islanders. Then they won on the road in Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, and now Boston. And Boston had not lost all year at home.
Wow.
And they skunked them 3-0.
Wow.
Anybody know who the top scorer is for the Seattle Kraken? Anybody? Top scorer for the Seattle Kraken?
Who is it?
Andre Burakovsky.
Wow.
35 points in 41 games.
Wow.
Their goalie is Martin Jones. 20 wins, 5 losses, and 3 ties. Would that be ties? No, that'd be overtime losses.
Overtime losses.
Right. He's been amazing. And the Kraken has been fantastico. And so now that Boston can be beaten at home, guess who's in there tomorrow night? The Leafs. Should be a terrific game. Maybe Matthews is ready to come back. I don't know, but even if he's not okay, that's fine too.
Now that Boston's angry, what's the betting line on that?
I don't know, but Boston could lose 5 in a row at home now. Once they've been, once they found the chink in the Boston armor at the TD Bank, whatever arena what do they call that arena?
TD, isn't it TD?
TD Garden?
Waterhouse? TD Waterhouse?
TD Garden?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Just remind them what the T stands for.
Toronto. So tomorrow night in Boston, got to rest. We've got to rest this guy. Undisclosed. Can you tell us about his injury? I'm sorry, it's undisclosed. Sorry, that's undisclosed.
I say, bring him back like 2 weeks before the playoffs. Let him get him,
let him go to Arizona, get fully 100% healthy. There you go. All right, let's talk a little bit of basketball. The Raptors are hanging in there. They're hoping to climb up the Eastern Conference ladder after a 124-114 win over Charlotte, the Hornets. Pascal Siakam with 35.7 rebounds. He was 11 of 13 from the field shooting and 10 of 12 from the charity stripe. Pretty good. Raptors tied for 10th. That's the final playoff spot of the East. They're 19 and 23. So you know how it works, right? It's if you're 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th in your conference, you do the play-in thing.
Right.
And then you can advance. So the Raptors they're in the thick of that. And there's people saying, well, dude, is that what we want? We want to play in spot and then get bounced in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. Do we want that? Or come on. You've got a team that, when everyone's healthy and they're on the floor, they're a pretty good team. Are they the best in the East? No. Are they playoff worthy? I think they are. You got some good players and you got a good coach. And you've still got Siakam and OG and Van Vliet from your championship team and Boucher. And, you need their Gary Trents Juniors and you need your Precious Ochoas and your Colocos and guys like that to come through. So the Raptors, 19-23, host Atlanta tomorrow night. Then they hit the road. They got to play in New York at Madison Square Garden, in Milwaukee. And then they come home. Then they're in Minnesota. And then they come home next Thursday to host the Celtics. So that's a tough trip, man. That's going to be awfully difficult.
These Raptors, it feels to me like they're in that mushy middle. This is Nowheresville, man. Like, remember, the Leafs lived there until they scorched the earth and ended up with Marner and Matthews. Like, it's terrible, I
know, but they're not that bad. That's just it. If you tank, you got to go way down. There's some really bad teams in the NBA. But you know what? They're exciting to watch. They are. And for the most part, they're never really out of a game. You've got guys that can get on fire, but their shooting has got to get better. It just has to. If you're going to shoot threes, you're going to live by the three. You're going to die by the three.
This team, this mushy middle Raptor team, needs a draft pick, right? Like this, we won 2 in a row. What did we win? 2 in a row?
No. You need Scotty Barnes to play the way he did as a rookie last year. You need a few things to happen. But
Several
take it
things.
easy. 19-23 is not the worst record in a row, and this team is capable of running off some wins. They're a good team. Are they good enough? Well, we're going to find out.
Can this team win a playoff round, Hebsy man?
I think they can. I think when they're all healthy, they are. They're a good team. They're good. That's just me.
Okay, mushy middle. Here we go.
Mushy middle.
This is like those Kessel Fanuff Leaf teams, right? Like, they're not bad. They could win a round.
Yeah.
They don't, but
yeah, I know what you mean. All right, it's NFL wildcard weekend. Mike's got his Doug Flutie Buffalo Bills jersey on there. I got the
Even
Buffalo
though he's a
Bills.
Trumper now, which actually really
Bills.
has me thinking this.
And he does those cryogenics commercials with Frank Thomas,
You want me to burn this on the
No. It's like,
peel off the Flutie at the
and
back?
she'll love it too. Here's 2 old guys standing on the
I feel greasy.
Anyway, so we're Bills fans. Right here, I got my Bills cap. He's got his Flutie jersey on.
Right.
And the Bills are Sunday at 1:00 hosting the Miami Dolphins. And they are 13.5-point favorites, Buffalo.
Wow.
13.5 points.
I'd still take Buffalo.
I would too. I think they could win by 40. And the wild card weekend, this is beautiful because it starts Saturday and it's like nonstop. So Saturday at 4:30, you got the San Francisco 49ers hosting Seattle. San Fran, a 9.5-point favorite. A lot of people picking them to go all the way to the Super Bowl and maybe winning it. They're a good squad. At 8:15, Saturday night, the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting a playoff game against the LA Chargers. LA is a 2.5-point favorite on the road in Jacksonville. Sunday, it's the Bills in Miami at 1:00. The Vikings, a 3-point pick in Minnesota against the Giants, is the 4:00 game. And then the Baltimore Ravens travel to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are a 9.5-point favorite. That's Sunday night. And there is a Monday night playoff game, too.
Weird.
Saturday. No, come on, as much as you can. NFL, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Don't forget, Monday.
But some teams will have more rest than other teams.
Absolutely. Monday. Tampa Bay Bucks. And Tom Brady, newly divorced. Are a 2.5-point underdog at home to the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. Dallas in Tampa Bay, Monday night playoffs.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Meanwhile, the Eagles and the Chiefs get first-round buys because they had the best records in their respective conferences, although the Bills would have, but they didn't get to play that other game. It's a whole thing like that. By the way, I had suggested, was it last week? I think it was, that they could play in Indianapolis would be a good halfway. But Indy had already said, no. I wasn't aware of this at the time.
Right.
They were like, no, we've got something going on. All the hotels are booked.
They got conference
volleyball,
conventions going on.
Whatever it is.
Conventions.
So if there is a game between the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 2 and number 1 seeds in the AFC, that game will be played in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, January 29th at 6:30 p.m. So Atlanta, Mike, is a 13.5-hour drive from Buffalo. How far do you think it is from Kansas City?
No idea. Tell me.
To Atlanta. Is it longer than 13.5 hours?
I actually don't know.
Or is it shorter than 13? 13.5-hour drive if you're from Buffalo. If you're from KC, how long of a drive? 12.25 hours.
Okay.
So it's less of a drive from KC, but it's still a long drive. But still, you're going to have time if there's that game to be played indoors at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
And these fans, is that one day, or do they take turns driving? What's the deal there? You and your buddy each take shifts, and you do it all in one haul.
13 hours?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't know because
no. You get up at 5 a.m. and you hit the road, man, and you're at
just
your
checking.
You're at your hotel.
What if you're the only driver? You still do that in one day?
Well, it depends how old you are. I don't know, man.
I personally
13 and a half hours I couldn't do by myself.
Right.
If I was younger, I'd have to split. I'd have to, you'd have to stop more than a couple of times, because we did 7 hours. When we went to Pinehurst, and 7 is plenty.
That's about my cap, I think, for one day. 7.
That's plenty. Anyway, good luck to everybody if you're following your NFL teams this weekend, because the NFL playoffs are fabulous. The Toronto Blue Jays acquired Brandon Belt earlier this week, and now look to have their lineup set with a few minor tweaks expected. More pitching would be nice, but for now, the Jays look pretty solid. You got Vladdy and Belt at first base. You got Espinal, Merrifield, or Biggio to play second, with the latter two also slotted for reserve outfield duty because they can all play the outfield. Bo plays short. Espinal would back him up. Chapman at third, also backed up by Espinal or Biggio or Merrifield could probably. I think if you're a middle infielder, you could probably play any infield position, right?
Right.
So you got lots of depth and lots of choices there, lefty, righty, whatever. In the outfield, you got left-handed hitting Dalton Varsho, left-handed hitting Kiermaier in center, and right-handed hitting George Springer. Your leadoff hitter in right field, Kirk and Jansen catching. Pretty good. Manoah, Gosman, Berrios, Chris Bassett, who they acquired this year.
Yeah.
Kikuchi, we'll see. Mitch White, I don't know. Some kid comes up maybe. I don't know. Eventually, Hyunjin Ryu.
Right.
In the bullpen. I don't know, man. Not Julian Merriweather. They had to DFA him, but you got Nate Pearson maybe, and you got, of course, Jordan Romano at the back end, and a few other guys whose names I forget that they were acquired, because generally speaking, relievers are, I don't want to say a dime a dozen. There's lots of guys that can throw 100 miles an hour in relief. There's tons of guys like that, hard throwers. And I can't remember the name of the kid they just picked up, Julian Fernandez, something like that. But that's typical guy who can throw. He could throw a ball through a car wash and it wouldn't get wet. The only problem is that he couldn't always hit the car wash. And Jays have lots of guys like this. They can throw 100 miles an hour, but they don't know where the ball's going. And, of course, Nate Pearson is the prime example of that. So we'll see how that shakes out. Should be very interesting.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
the Bills and Chiefs in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Is there sections for each city? Like if you buy it from Buffalo, you're on one side.
I
and
would
if you buy
think
it from
so.
Kansas
I would
City?
think the allotment of tickets. Remember, too, the home team would normally get, more obviously because you got your season ticket holders. But a place like Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which holds 70,000 people,
right?
I'm pretty sure could accommodate, it's like, the Bills have this many tickets allotted for them, and the Chiefs have this many tickets.
And 30, they have sections,
35,000 each,
section.
for sure. And here
like
the Bills will
soccer.
sit on this side and the Chiefs will sit on that side. So you would get your tickets through the Bills. If you had Bills season tickets, I'm sure the Bills right now are saying, for those season ticket holders, if this game exists, here's how you get your tickets. It's part of your playoff package or whatever the deal is. TSN Plus.
Oh yeah, talk to me about this. I thought of you when I heard about this.
Is here for a free trial. So it's a streaming service, and it's going to give fans a chance to watch events that aren't popular enough to go on one of the 5 TSN channels or however many they've got. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times we're like, hey, how come we can't watch the Felix tennis match, or how come we can't see the Canadian golfers at the Sony Open? Well, now TSN has gone the way of, a lot of these other services, ESPN Plus, a streaming service that offers you now, because it's streaming, multiple channels that you can watch the live stream of your favorite golfer or a tennis match that doesn't feature Novak Djokovic or whatever, or an NBA game that's not on the regular TSN, one of the 5 channels. And so last night, for example, the Leaf game is on one of the TSN channels, and there's other hockey games, regional hockey games that are on the other TSN channels. So if you wanted to watch the Sony Open Golf, you're SOL. But if you've got TSN Plus, the streaming service, you can log on to that and you can watch the golf. It's not on TSN television, but it is on the streaming service.
So there are PGA, like sanctioned PGA events that don't make it to TSN television.
No. Yeah, it's is TSN covering that entire event? You know what I mean? Are they covering it start to finish? Is it on one of their channels, or is it happen to be running up against the NFL, which TSN is running NFL games, for example?
Are you, Mr. Hebsher, sports fanatic? Are you going to be getting some TSN Plus in your life?
I think so, because there's a lot of times where I want to watch tennis. or golf or I don't know, NBA or whatever, whatever else. And it's not, and I'm flipping and I'm like, oh, how come it's not on the TSN channels? Well, it's because TSN's got they got Major League Baseball package, or they've got the NFL package, or
Right.
they, stuff like that. So you can watch it. So yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay, I have a question about F1. Do you know anything like somebody on? I'm in this DM group, and there was chatter about F1. Is it moving to TSN Plus, or is it still on like regular TSN? There's just like bonus coverage, or maybe this is something you're not sure of at this point.
I think that with the streaming, that yes, there would always be a feed of something that's going on, and they have F1. They already have rights to F1. So
yeah.
I guess if F1 has F1 Plus or F1 behind the scenes or whatever, that would also be available on the TSN streaming service.
But if you wanted to see an F1 race, that's still on your TSN television.
Oh yeah, I would think you could also stream it.
Okay,
that would make sense
for the diehards.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah,
like if you don't have the television but you have the streaming service, it would make sense
bonus
that
coverage.
You could also get that on the streaming service.
Okay,
I would think.
Okay,
I would say contact your local retailer.
But Mr. Hebsy, since you're going to be doing this free trial, you could report back and let us all know, like, how are you enjoying your TSN Plus? And what's the price? Do you know?
No, it's free right now, but I don't know what it is. But I mean, if I get into it, I don't know.
Get you addicted, and then it's
we'll see.
$20 a month or whatever.
Let's see. The new Netflix series, Breakpoint, begins streaming, I think tonight or tomorrow, this weekend. So again, this is based on the Drive to Survive series, which just people went nuts over, and is really well done. It's just excellent production value. That's all I can say. When you get behind the scenes in anything, but behind the scenes at multi-million, billion-dollar racing and the equipment and the personalities involved and the pressure to win, right? And again, as the series suggests, Drive to Survive. And I mean, if you don't do well, guess what? You're off the team. McLaren doesn't need you. Ferrari doesn't need you. Right?
Right.
So really interesting stuff. So I'll be looking forward to that because, the tennis especially, I think, is such an individual sport. It's just, it's lonely. You're lonely. You're hitting with a hitting partner. You don't have a roommate, for example. You're kind of on your own out there. And when you're on the court and single, you're on your own. There's nobody else to blame. It's you and the opponent. So I'm interested in seeing that. And then eventually, I think coming soon also from Netflix is Full Swing, a look behind the scenes at the PGA Tour. Same thing.
I got to ask you about a comment that just came into your YouTube channel about Drive to Survive. So I only learned about it yesterday, but this is it's going to be like when we used to watch that before the Outdoor Classic, they would have that HBO. It was
behind
great.
The scenes, right.
Like Ovechkin versus Crosby. I remember how great that was. I guess whoa, this is, and it looked good.
Documentary style, yeah.
And they did that effect where like the people always looked like their eyes were wet. Do you remember that? What's that? You know that effect? Like where it's like, it's like the eyes are like wet. Did that make sense? Anyway.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Maybe it's my eyes that were wet.
Maybe.
Okay, so there's a comment is about not Drive to Survive. What's it called? Breakpoint. Breakpoint is what I mean to ask about. Breakpoint is this new tennis Netflix series, and there's a comment on the YouTube channel that it's for non-tennis fans.
Oh, I guess I won't watch it then.
I don't even know how that could be true. If you're getting to see people's personalities behind the scenes, how that sounds like it's for everyone, including obviously tennis fans. Right?
Mike, when did the comments from YouTube hijack this show?
Always, but now that you're in person, I can interrupt you easier.
I know, but I mean, but where's the relevance here? Somebody who's listening to the show.
The relevance is that you're a tennis...
having not seen the show, having seen a 1-minute trailer of this,
right?
To have the audacity, the gall to suggest that this is not for tennis fans,
right?
Only non-tennis fans, as if hey, all you non-tennis fans, put your hands up. Like, who's going to admit to being a non-tennis fan? Come on, get rid of that person. Block them.
I'm blocking you.
Block this person.
I would.
Where were we on this show, Mike? It used to be such a good show.
Yeah, but here, before we get it back on track,
such a good show before the YouTubers took over.
You're a massive. You invited them in, Hebsy. You're a massive tennis fan.
I'm not a massive tennis fan.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. Brian Gerstein's a massive tennis fan.
But you're a big tennis fan. You stay up till 3 a.m. to watch Australian Open.
It depends who's playing.
I'm not gonna do. No, but you can.
But I don't have to be up at 6 a.m. with my 8 kids. Getting them off to school. I can sleep in as late as I want. It's different for you and
my
me.
witching
Yes,
hour.
I am. I really enjoy tennis.
And you are, just for the record, you're excited to watch Breakpoint because you're going to see these personalities, these tennis players. You're going to get some behind the scenes.
I'm as excited to see Breakpoint as I am to see the new season of Ted Lasso. The new season of
Okay.
how about the new season of Your Honor starts tonight.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm a fan of it. I'm a non-fan of it. I'm sorry. This show is not for people who are fans of police dramas. If you're a fan of police dramas, don't watch this show. It's not for you. It's for him.
Police.
It's for him over there.
But if I can just I'll speak really quickly here. That imagine for a minute you're making a tennis documentary series with behind the scenes tennis footage, and it's like, yeah, this isn't for tennis fans. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, this is a big thing, deep dive into tennis, but not for people who actually love tennis. That's ridiculous.
Mike, there's too many contrarians that listen to the show, and you let them post on YouTube because they go, I hope Mike reads my note on YouTube to Mark
I like this
about
guy.
10 non-tennis fans being fans of tennis. This is not for tennis fans. If you're a tennis fan, don't. In fact, we called it the wrong thing. We shouldn't have called it Break Point. We should have called it Fuck Tennis.
Yeah, if you hate tennis, this is for you.
For tennis haters only. For Christ's sake.
Moose Grumpy's on your side says, Drive to Survive played to both fans and non-fans of F1.
Listen,
and Break Point will do the same.
If someone says to you, who is this show for? Right? People that like to be entertained. How about that? If someone was to say, don't listen to HEBSY on Sports, it's only for non-sports fans.
Right.
Who, by the way, do listen. Because someone will say, I don't know much about sports, but I like your show because you teach me the odd thing, or I'm entertained. It's entertainment. If someone said to you, would you like to be entertained by a show? What's it about? It's about auto racing. No, I love auto racing. Why would I watch that show? Fuck, geez. Okay. Baseball. Let's talk baseball because pitchers and catchers report in, 32 days.
Wow, it's coming.
More changes in baseball.
Are you going to spring training?
No.
Okay. Disappointed.
No, not going to spring training. The electronic strike zone is here to stay. The electronic strike zone will be used in all 30 AAA ballparks beginning this year, 2023. That from ESPN. Seemingly another significant step towards the implementation of the technology that we all hate, but we all have to eventually embrace at the big league level. So it's not in the major leagues yet, but trust me when I tell you, it's going to be there soon because it's in AAA this year. So it's called the ABS, not the automatic braking system, automatic balls and strikes, ABS. It's kind of like WWF. Oh, it's the World Wrestling Federation. Not so fast. It's the World Wildlife Fund. You can't use that. So ABS is the automatic balls and strike system. It's going to be deployed in two different ways. Half of Class AAA, half the games, will be played with all of the calls determined by an electronic strike zone. And the other half will be played with an ABS challenge system similar to that used in pro tennis. Right?
Right.
I like the challenge. Right. Each team will be allowed 3 challenges per game. Oh, that'll slow the game up. With teams retaining challenges in cases when they are proved correct. MLB's intention is to use the data and feedback from both systems over the full slate of games to inform future choices. Makes good sense. Right? That's why you have the minor leagues, right? Now, I don't know, Mike. I don't like seeing an ump make a bad call when you can clearly see that the ball was in the strike zone.
Right.
And we're all experts now, right? So is it that much of a stretch when the ball hits the strike zone and you go, that's a strike, and it goes, beep, strike?
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for the ump to make the call? Or if the ump makes the call and it's a wrong call, you can challenge going, look at that, the strike, beep, it was in this, beep, strike.
The time has come. Get it right.
Let's get it right.
Get it right.
Let's get it right. That's all it comes down to. We're going to get it right. And, over the years, watching baseball, it's really changed. If you look at the amount of time it takes to play a game, it's incredibly long. It just takes so much time. So this year, they are adding the pitch clock. That to me is going to be the most interesting thing, to see some of these guys out there who are used to just taking their time, mopping their brow, pawing at the rubber, looking in for the sign, adjusting themselves. You got 15 to 20 seconds. Let's just see what kind of an effect that has.
HEBSY, these playoff games start at whatever, 8:07 or whatever it is. And then it's after midnight when these games wind down. I don't know who the hell. I mean, it's not for baseball fans, HEBSY. No, just kidding. It's only for baseball fans because everybody else is like, I got to get to work in the morning. Right. Come on.
But baseball is the perfect sport where you can get stuff done while the game's going on. It's true. I mean, I know a lot of people, and I'm the same way. Okay, outside for ball 2-2-0. As soon as I see that ball's outside, I got time. I got 45 seconds. Well, now I've only got 15 to 20 seconds.
Right.
But we're used to like, I can switch over here. I can check my device.
Multitask.
I can multitask easily for baseball.
You know what's
Baseball's
tough
the
for that?
best sport for
Soccer's tough for that. I'm watching these World Cup matches, and it's like relentless. It's like for 45 minutes, you're kind of staring at a TV. Like there is no multitasking time, really.
Well, there is if you're listening to the announcer. If the ball's, if the
But it
play,
happens quickly.
if the play's in the middle of the field or whatever, you know, and you're doing something else, and you hear, oh, the little break, and now you know I better look over there because you know somebody's counterattacking or you know the ball's into the box or something like that.
Sure.
All right, in golf, it's the Sony Open in Hawaii. So Hawaii is 5 time zones behind us. So you see, LA is it 6 time zones behind us?
6 hours.
Okay, so 6. So LA is 3 hours behind.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is another 3 hours behind that.
Right.
So they don't even like you when you're watching TV for the golf, you're watching it. It's like it's 6 o'clock at night here. It's noon in Hawaii. So really, you can watch nighttime golf, right? Like you know, this early morning stuff in Europe. What's going on? Nothing. These guys haven't teed off yet. For crying out loud! It's 9:35 here. It's 3:30 in the morning there.
Right.
They haven't finished throwing up from the night before. Went out drinking. We got a tie atop the leaderboard at 6 under par off the opening round. Top Canadians, I don't even know who's up there. Justin Spieth or Jordan Spieth is up there. Doesn't matter. It's only the first round. Top Canadians are Adam Svensson and Corey Connors at 1 under. Nick Taylor at even. Mackenzie Hughes, 2 over par. And Michael Gligic is at +5. But it's early, the Sony Open. And, of course, it's sort of the unofficial official. Like the PGA season never ends. You know, it used to actually end in the fall.
Right.
And then you had the silly season, which was the skins games and the shootouts and the stuff like that. And then the tour would begin like, you know, in January in Hawaii, right? A couple of them in Hawaii. And then California, you do that trip. And then you end up in Florida because of nice weather. And then by the time like April rolls around, you're ready for the Masters and, you know, start playing up north, that kind of a thing. So it's the Sony Open and it's good. It's good money and all that. And you got some good players.
Will you be watching?
I'll watch some of it. I'll watch some. Novak Djokovic is allowed in Australia. He's there. No issues. No problems like the last couple of years. No, you know, oh, so you're not vaxxed. It's okay. Come on in. So he's the number 1 seed at the Australian Open. And the tournament director of the Australian Open says, if anyone boos Novak Djokovic, they'll be immediately removed from the venue. This is the tournament director before the tournament saying, I don't want to hear any booing of Novak. Now, how are you going to stop someone going, you know, Djokovic to serve? Motherfucker! Right? Somebody yelling out there, fuck you, Djokovic, you prick.
Gone.
Up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw that person out.
Mr. Hebscher's been
That's
removed
weird,
from the
man,
facility.
because, you know, sometimes Djokovic deserves to be booed. He just does. And now you're telling, and is this going to be true for every player? There will be no booing.
But is there a lot of booing at the Australian Open?
I don't know, booing, hissing,
it.
whatever it is. I don't know if there is a lot, but that's
more of a
but to
Davis
say
Cup
there's
thing.
no booing allowed,
right?
You know, how about Bronx cheer? Can I go? Is that like a boo? Can I hiss? Have you ever heard anyone hiss before?
Hiss.
Or they whistle like in Europe when they don't like what's going on. They don't boo, they whistle. Right? When they're upset. Anyway, I'll be listening for
Different
that.
culture.
I'll be listening for that. I'll be listening for some. If I was a ventriloquist, I would throw my voice and have someone else boo and get kicked out.
That's right. You could throw your voice. Yeah.
Anyway, the first round begins. It's underway. Felix Auger-Aliassime gets fellow Canuck Vasek Pospisil in the first round. I never liked those. I mean, what do we got? We got five or 4 or 5 Canadian men, and in the first round, 2 Canadians against each other. That's not fair. That's no good. So, you know, we know we're going to get a Canuck in the second round. It's likely going to be Felix. I can't see Vasek knocking him off. And Felix knows his game too. Denis Shapovalov gets Dusan Lajovic from Serbia in the opening round of there. On the women's side, the distaff side, Bianca Andreescu gets the number 25 seed Marie Buzkova tonight, while Lila Fernandez takes on France's Alize Cornet in the opening round tomorrow. That's about all I wrote for today because, you know, normally, Mike, I'm in my home studios. I'm sitting in my pajamas writing the show. Well, you know, and then it's like, oh, okay, you know, I'll grab a shower here and then I'm ready to go.
And you're faster in person, I think.
I'll put
than,
my camera to here and we'll talk about a bunch of stuff. But today I was not rushed, but it was like, okay, what else do I want to talk about? I think I
Well, that's just for the record. You did drive here. You didn't get on your like snowshoes and make your trek here in the snow because it's a rare snow day in Toronto. I never thought I'd say that, but it hasn't snowed in a while. But hey, this is an opportunity for us to talk about. Maybe we can have a little like a little meeting about questions or how you want to approach the interview that you and I are conducting with Richard Griffin.
Wait.
Okay.
Why am I conducting an interview? No.
What are you here for?
No. You're the one conducting the interview. It's
Yeah.
your show.
Okay, but what are you gonna do? Just
it's your show. I don't know.
I can't. I'm gonna mute
I
your
don't know what I'm
microphone.
gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's not my show. This is the show I worry about. My show.
Right.
You got your show. You invited me on. You invited Richard Griffin on.
Right.
The subject's going to be baseball, Blue Jays and Expos specifically.
It's gonna be Richard. Yeah.
The stories that you can tell, what happened. You know, you're going to ask him what happened at the
that's
Blue
where
Jays.
you're going to be great because I mean, obviously, I have a clip of Rick Monday and I have a clip of El Perfecto, El Presidente, El Perfecto.
Why would you bring that stuff up?
Well, that was a good one. That second
Why would
one.
you bring that up? It's so painful.
Expos fans don't even have a team anymore. I doubt they're still upset over
it. Go over the Blue Monday thing again.
Yeah, well,
bring back that again.
Sure, of course. I don't care. I'm a Jays fan, but you know. And then, of course, being there for, I guess when does he come? When do you know when Richard Griffin comes to Toronto? Is it after the strike? Like it's in '95, maybe?
From Montreal?
Yeah.
I don't. You're going to have to ask him that.
Okay, I think he comes here. I think it's like '95 or whatever. And then he takes that job at the Jays.
Yeah, I don't think he was. No, he wasn't covering the Jays when they won the World Series 2 years in a row.
Right.
He was with the
Montreal.
Expos.
Right.
I think he was with the Expos up till '94 when they had the best record in all of baseball.
Exactly.
And then the strike wiped it out. So yeah, it could be. I think you're right. I think '95 would have been about right.
So he comes
when
in,
Roger Clemens comes. So
yeah.
he's writing for the Star.
Right.
He's writing baseball, and he's a columnist. He's a baseball columnist.
Right.
An outstanding writer, and he did that for quite a while. And yeah.
Then he got an offer he couldn't refuse to work for the Blue Jays, and that's where he was until like 20 minutes ago or whatever.
Right.
So we're gonna find out why he left the Jays. Yeah, we'll get some good Montreal stories. But did you know? Here's a fun fact. When I'm doing my research, the man is born and raised in Jamaica.
No, I didn't know that, man.
Yeah. So he fell in love with baseball from Jamaica, where he was living, obviously. And then, so we're going to get the whole Richard Griffin story. Now, I was thinking, it's up to you. Did you want Richard Griffin and you and me to go live on your YouTube channel, or would that violate some kind of, like, would you care if it goes on your YouTube channel?
No, of course not.
Okay, because I'm going to.
The more the merrier.
Okay.
Because if somebody doesn't like this show,
right.
Yeah, this sucks. He's fucking horrible. Let's flip over to the other thing he did today. Or it could be the worst thing. It's like, Jesus Christ, if he's bad, why would I want to listen to him about another podcast, for crying out loud? And in my mind, it's like, I have some great stories to tell, but should I save these for the Toronto Mike podcast with Richard Griffin?
You can do it in
both. Or do I
use?
No, I can't do them
different
both.
Audiences. There's some overlap.
Bullshit. Well, it's not different audiences.
I mean, there's some overlap.
There'll be some overlap.
Do you think Gene Velitis is going to hear you on Toronto Mike?
I don't want to hear someone go, I just fucking heard him tell this story 15 minutes ago on his other podcast. Or worse, they listen to your podcast first, and then when they go for a jog or a bike ride later, they go, mine is just a repeat.
There's no talk of.
I've been listening lately. I've listened to the Keith Olbermann podcast, and lately he's got a sinus infection. He's been dropping in commentaries that he had done back in the summer, right? You know, this was from back in the summer, and I'm like, I listened to it.
Right.
I heard the whole thing already. So, but he's doing a little setup saying, "Oh, this is from back in October, and here it is again."
Right.
I mean, I don't do that stuff like that. Don't be repeating stuff that you've already had on your show.
You did do it a couple of times.
No. I'm talking within the context of his live show.
Right. Yeah.
Here's a live show, and by the way, and here's a clip of a 7-minute commentary I did back in October.
It's not like a television show or a radio show where back in the day, like it aired and then it was gone into the abyss, and you never would hear from it again. But now with podcasts, like I find podcast listeners are like completists. They pause when they can't listen. And
that's a Tragically Hip song. The Completist.
You know what I have?
That's a Tragically Hip song. The Completist. That's a great song from Music at Work.
So do you know the name David Kynes?
Yes.
So he sent me a couple of boxes full of like DVDs and CDs. David Kynes, for those who don't know.
What is a DVD, by the way?
Well, that's my problem. I can't listen. So I've been giving them away. Like literally, I did an unboxing video and people are like, hey, I'll take this, I'll take that. And I've been biking it. I did 2 deliveries yesterday, 2 the other day. There's been pickups. But anyway, one of the things I'm holding on to, even though I can't, although I think these are CDs, actually, now that I think about it. I could play it because I have a CD player behind me. But this is your favorites. It's a box.
Your favorites.
Right.
It's a good one.
And it's got some cool, like a cool book, and not available. So I'm not offering this up. I'm just showing off that I'm keeping it. But here's something I was thinking, and I was going to ask you if you wanted it. This one I held on to because I said, if you want this, it's yours, Hebsy. That's how much I love you, man. This is a wonderful
Oh,
4-disc box set. Here, tell people what it is.
The Last Waltz by the band was tremendous. It was produced by and directed by Martin Scorsese. So the video, I mean, the movie is tremendous.
Yep.
Tremendous documentary.
Right.
And this is the 4 CD set with a tremendous book. Look at that. The Last Waltz, the band, the story of the band.
Like, if you would love that.
So the background of the band is my late uncle, my dad's youngest brother, Jerry, was very, very good friends with all these guys in the band. They're around the same age as these guys. And when they came to Toronto as the backup band for Ronnie and the Hawks, they lived, or at least
they were the Hawks.
They were the Hawks, right? They were the Hawks. And so they lived, or at least Levon Helm did, in my grandmother's basement apartment for, I don't know, like the summer maybe, or back and forth, and whenever he was in town and he needed a place to crash, he had a room there. And I think the rent, I think my grandmother charged him like $25 a month. This was a basement apartment, like a cold water flat.
Right.
You know, and I don't know, it had a bed and a dresser and a toilet, and that was about it, right? And these guys were working 6-7 days a week. They were playing music. They were up till all hours. And she used to, and so we didn't know until she died that she never cashed any of his rent checks.
Wow.
So my dad found all these, checks that had never been cashed. From Levon Helm to Ethel Hebscher. Yeah,
That's amazing. I hope he held on to.
No, he didn't know at the time. They were throwing stuff away, right? Him and his sisters and all that. But what happened was, so yeah, he stayed there, and so my dad wasn't he wasn't a fan of that music, but my uncle, his brother, was, and he hung out with these guys. He was very good friends with Levon Helm. He told me, he says, Levon Helm, the one thing he wanted more than anything else, he wanted to make enough money so he could buy his mother a washing machine. Back in Arkansas.
Wow.
Simple guy. He just wanted to make enough money so that his mother wouldn't have to wash clothes by hand. Real simple guy. And he knew Robbie Robertson, and there's all history back there, obviously, but the band,
Well, Levon, of course, much like the late Romp and Ronnie Hawkins, they were Arkansas boys. Yep. Whereas the rest of the band is Canadian.
That's right. That's exactly right.
He's one of those drummers who sings, like Phil Collins or whatever. I always love it when the drummer is the singer. Yeah.
The only problem was you listen to their music and go, wow, what great, fantastic musicians. They didn't last very long together. They knew it was over after the second album, and they kind of hung in there. They really disliked each other in a lot of ways. And eventually Levon felt that since Robbie wrote almost all the songs and got all that money, that it should have been a shared thing. It should have been shared between all 5 of them. And when Richard Manuel died, and then later Rick Danko died, they should have gotten something from Robbie as far as Levon was concerned. And the chasm between them was so huge that they never made up. So when he did die a decade or so ago now, they had not made up, and it was too bad, really too bad.
That is too bad. Now I'm looking at this 4-disc Last Waltz box set and stuff, and because I like you, I haven't seen it as many times as you, but I love watching it. But yeah, like the waltz with the Staple Singers, which I love. And
you see that scene was not part of the Last Waltz show.
Right.
The cameras overheated.
Right.
And weren't turned on, could not turn on when the Staple Singers did their version of it. So they had to send them all to a sound stage to recreate it. And if you look at that part of the video, they don't even acknowledge it. The members of the band don't even acknowledge each other.
Interesting.
Like they don't even, when the song's over, they just walk off the stage with their instruments or whatever. It's really creepy.
But you got, in addition, you got like Joni Mitchell, Neil Young.
Joni Mitchell was awesome, man.
Yeah. Van Morrison.
Van Morrison
Eric
was
Clapton.
awesome. Yeah. Eric Clapton was there. Ronnie
Bob
Hawkins,
Dylan, of course.
Ronnie Hawkins came out and played as well.
Right.
Right. He did that. Bo Diddley, I think Bo Diddley was part of
Muddy Waters.
Muddy Waters, right.
Paul Butterfield was
Paul Butterfield Bluesman, yeah. Tremendous.
Oh my God, yeah.
Amazing music.
Amazing.
The Last Waltz, yeah. Here's the other thing I was going to mention that I forgot about the Baseball Hall of Fame voting. And it's possible that this year nobody gets in. This happened a few years ago. People were like, oh, for gosh sakes, how can nobody like get in? And then it's like, well, listen, it's not easy to get into the baseball. It's the toughest Hall of Fame to get into. You could go back and say, well, some of the old timers, this guy didn't make it. He wasn't that good, whatever. You could say that about any sport, but baseball is still the toughest to get in. You got to have 75% of the vote. And as it stands right now, maybe Scott Rowland will get into the Hall of Fame this year. Maybe, but maybe not, because the tracker basically is saying guys like Scott Rowland is a maybe. Todd Helton is a maybe. Jeff Kent's not going to get in. Billy Wagner's not going to get in. Andrew Jones isn't going to get in. Gary Sheffield isn't going to get in. Andy Pettit's not going to get in. Abreu's not going to get in.
Right.
Burley's not going to get in.
No.
A-Rod's not getting in. None of these guys, right?
Right.
And so you look at it and say, okay, how many years on the ballot? And that's the thing, is how many years on the ballot? Now, Scott Rowland's been this is his 6th year on the ballot. And so it's like, okay, he wasn't a first ballot, he wasn't anything, but 6th ballot. Now, remember, when Larry Walker got in, it was his final year on the ballot. And so this is taken into consideration. It's like, if a guy's on his last year on the ballot, he's much more likely to get in.
Right.
And so the more years you've been on that ballot, the better chance you have. And I think Scott Rowland might get in this year. And then in upcoming years, you have to wait to see who's eligible, because in every year there's new guys that are eligible.
Sure.
Really good players, maybe first ballot Hall of Famers, right? Guys like that. But right now they're not. They're either still playing or they've just.
Yeah, I mean, like when Pujols is up, he's a first.
Oh yeah,
ballot
yeah.
Sure.
He's probably a first ballot. But again, I don't know who he's up against that year. It might be a couple guys who were in their last year of eligibility, and the voter and the writers say, yeah, we can wait a year for Albert Pujols. We can wait a year. And you're going to have the outrage. How is he not in? Don't worry. He'll be on the ballot next year. He'll get in.
Okay, so now that we got Fred McGriff in there.
Right. Carlos Delgado.
Yes, how did you know?
Right, because he's the natural, because if it wasn't...
Will he ever get in?
Yeah,
Carlos
I think
Delgado.
he will get in. But again, how many years on the ballot? And if he doesn't make it on these ballots here, he's not eligible on this ballot. He'll get in via the Veterans Committee vote, the back doorway, I guess it is. You get in, you get in. Right at the end, it's not like, hey, what was the percentage of the voter? Was it the Veterans Committee that let you in?
Do you think it hurt him that he spent so many key years here in Toronto? Like, do you think that works?
I don't think so. I think he played during an era where there were lots of really good players. Right. And, his numbers are very good numbers. But compared to some of the other guys in that era that are in the Hall of Fame, they measure up. And, of course, naturally, since he played for the Jays, as did McGriff, and Larry Walker played for the Expos.
Sure.
We're closer to these guys. We want them.
Tim Raines, don't forget.
Timmy Raines, right. Whereas we're not clamoring for Andrew Jones, because Andrew Jones never played for Toronto or Montreal. And yeah, he was a good ball player, but when you watched him play, did you go, that guy's a Hall of Famer? Like, I know when I watched Mark Burley pitch, I never once said that guy's a Hall of Famer.
No. Because it would be a sin to get Burley's in the Hall and Dave Steve is not. Can you imagine that world?
Well, there you go. The Dave Steve thing, I mean, come on. You've got to. But I don't know if he'll get in. It depends on a lot of things. Wow. And and again, if you're not a Hall of Famer, does that mean that your career was, well, this wasn't that good. He didn't make it in the Hall of Fame. There's plenty of
Gary Sheffield had a great career.
Really good players that aren't in the Hall of Fame. There's just lots of really good players.
Hall of really good.
Hall of excellent. You know what? I think that's about it there. I can't think of anything else. There we go. That's it for episode 316 of HEBSY on Sports, done live from the Mothership here, the Toronto Mike studio. Thanks, as always, to Toronto Mike. Production, inspiration. What else?
I had to play the music and
musical coordinator.
I recorded it.
What else?
I had to get us live on YouTube.
YouTube
Did
watcher.
Lots of things.
YouTube comment catcher.
I'm Brian's spokesperson.
Fart catcher.
Wayne Brown says, great show. That's
Thank
all
you,
I
Wayne.
need.
That's all I needed to hear. Are you a tennis fan? Because if you're not, you should watch Breakpoint.
But Wayne, this is important. If you are a tennis fan, do not watch Breakpoint on Netflix. Not for you, brother.
But if you want to be a tennis fan, if you're thinking, I wouldn't mind becoming a tennis. How do I become a tennis fan? Well, there you go. Right. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Really appreciate it. Back with another exciting episode next week. Which would be Friday the 20th.
Will you be here?
I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. Probably not. I think I might be. I might be up in Markham.
Woo!
In the Markham studio. Or further north. Anyway, that's it. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, so long for now.